Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.
From St. Louis Public Radio. This is St. Louis on the Air.
You know, we did want to make sure that as the neighborhood ebbed and flowed, that there was this consistency of community-connected artists that always had an opportunity at their income range. I honestly believe in the power of artists to innovate and to stabilize and to be connected and committed to a neighborhood.
So this doesn't make sense for somebody who's looking to just cash in on the St. Louis real estate market. What you're trying to do is sort of build this neighborhood, build this community.
That's absolutely right.
I'm Sarah Fensky. Next Thursday, Stan Chisholm closes on his new home in the city's Gravois Park neighborhood. That's a big deal, and not just because houses can be hard to land in this overheated market. Stan is an artist, and his home is the first purchase through the St. Louis Art Place initiative. The effort aims to fill 19 more homes in 4 blocks of Gravois Park with artists like Stan. And joining us now with more about the St. Louis Art Place initiative is Kaveh Razani. He's the director of operations for the St. Louis Art Place initiative. Kaveh, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So the Incarnate Word Foundation and Kranzberg Arts Foundation and the Regional Arts Commission came together to form this St. Louis Art Place initiative 2 years ago. What was their idea with this?
So it actually was an idea that was formulated as part of a larger community planning process. Dutchtown South Community Corporation, a CDC in the Dutchtown neighborhood, facilitated the Gravois Jefferson Historic Neighborhoods Plan, which was a 2-year process to determine the community's needs and desires for all sectors of their neighborhood. And amidst this 350-page document, there was an arts and culture section. And in that section, there was a call for affordable for-sale housing for artists. That part of Gravois Park has seen a lot of change in the last, 5 to 10 years. Mm-hmm. And folks were noticing that it was harder and harder for artists to maintain residency in that neighborhood. And a lot of those artists were sort of affected by the nature of their, rental arrangements rather than home ownership. And so this planning process churned out this call for affordable housing for artists. And Bridget Flood, the executive director of the Incarnate Word Foundation, was participating in some of those plans and thought to herself as an artist that she might be able to help address that need, and connected with the Regional Arts Commission and the Kranzberg Arts Foundation to realize that call. So we very much find ourselves rooted in the community's call.
Yeah, and so now this has resulted in an artist moving into his home. I understand he's taken up residence even though the sale officially goes through next week. But it's safe to say this is a success. This
is a success so far, yes. And, we are learning as we go. We find ourselves at this intersection of affordable housing and arts-based community development. And we haven't found too many organizations nationwide that are doing things in a similar way that we are. But this was our first case study. We're happy to say that we found it to be a success. We've got a lot of learning to do and adapting to do from what we've learned along the way. But it's an exciting time for all of us.
So the idea is to make it as easy for these artists to buy a home as it would be to rent. How does that play out in reality?
Oh, boy, that is a great question. So a big part of our process was spending the first year to 2 years doing direct community engagement. And so we called a roundtable, a little town hall of artists that we knew were connected to that neighborhood in particular, either as residents, as working artists, and asked them to inform us what their barriers were to home ownership, and just sort of understanding where an artist, and not just an artist, but folks with similar challenges, inconsistent income on paper, inconsistent employment generally speaking, what their challenges were to home ownership. And so we took that information and we realized that by kind of attacking a couple pain points in the process of home ownership, we were able to make a large difference for folks. Often, and not just with artists, a lot of lower to moderate income individuals find that that piece of a down payment is particularly difficult.
That's hard.
Yeah, and given inconsistent, credit reports and that kind of thing, we were able to create a situation by which we created an application. We connected back-end financiers to our process, making it easier for the underwriting experience, and found that if we mostly reduced the ask on the artist on the front end, particularly with a down payment, the process was a lot easier.
So basically, you're kicking in, the initiative is kicking in a big chunk of the down payment.
We are connecting our investment. Most of our investment goes into the building subsidy. As you may know, building materials prices are skyrocketing. It's going to cost us a lot more money to either build new or rehab all of our homes than what we can sell them for to land in that low to moderate income sort of price point. And so our organization shells most of our investment into the construction process, and we do put some into the down payment process, but we connect with a lot of other programs to help in that regard.
So other people kick in at that point?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So what prevents an artist from getting one of these really sweetly priced homes in this cool part of town and then just flipping it? I mean, we all see homes getting so many offers these days. I'm sure that Stan could easily sell this if he wanted to.
Absolutely, and that's kind of the nature of investing this much money in the rehab, is that there is equity built into it that is greater than the price that we're selling it for. But a big part of our organization's mission is sort of maintaining affordability for artists in perpetuity. And in doing so, we are going to help facilitate the creation, particularly in this Gravois Park footprint, of a community land trust that is sort of a model for collective ownership and collective management of real estate. And so the creation of that organization is going to help codify some of the you can call them restrictions, I suppose, that will prevent that sort of thing from happening. What we are doing is we are creating an option in the deed. We are deed restricting the home so that Art Place or its designee will always have the first right of refusal to purchase that home back. And the idea is that when Stan is looking to sell, if he is, he comes back to Art Place, says, hey, I'm looking to sell, and we go to our hopper of pre-approved artists who we've had go through the application process and directly connect the future buyer with Stan to kind of transact the sale of the home.
So this doesn't make sense for somebody who's looking to just cash in on the St. Louis real estate market. What you're trying to do is sort of build this neighborhood, build this community.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, and a big part of what we're facing down there, everywhere is having conversations around the notion of development and gentrification, and we wanted to limit the negative secondary impacts of the work that we were doing. It would be very easy to participate in sort of like this free market real estate game that everybody is attempting to participate in
For
right now.
sure.
But we did want to make sure that as the neighborhood ebbed and flowed, that there was this consistency of community connected artists that always had an opportunity at their income range.
So Stan is meant to be the first of 20, and this is going to be all within a 4x1 block radius.
That's right.
Ideally. What's the idea in getting everybody right there in one block versus sort of spreading them out throughout the neighborhood?
So a lot of it was more availability of real estate. All of our parcels came from the LRA, the city's land bank.
And so these were homes that had been vacant or abandoned or lost to tax foreclosure. That's
absolutely right. Yeah, and many of them, the majority of them, in fact, are vacant lots. And so while we are doing our best to protect the existing housing stock and starting there to the best of our ability, we also will be building majority new construction homes.
So that's cool.
Yes.
I understand Habitat for Humanity is a partner in this as well.
Yes, Habitat for Humanity St. Louis is actually, in my opinion, our key sort of partnership. They are sort of the gold standard of affordable housing development. I think they've built 423 houses in the existence of their St. Louis chapter and maintain a very, very low foreclosure rate because of the way that they stay connected to their clientele over time and make themselves available to assist. So it's a fantastic opportunity to work with them.
So you've really found a really blighted block, and you're going to be, sort of bringing this block back.
Yeah, so it's most of our homes will fall across 4 blocks, within the same north to south orientation, and we think that it's going to be hugely impactful for the neighborhood.
So what kind of feedback are you hearing from people who are in the immediate area right around there?
Yeah, well, I participate on Cherokee Street and have for a long time as a business owner, and that was sort of what I was doing prior to this organization's existence. And, we pride ourselves in that part of town as being a very artist-rich community. And I think, as the street has changed over the years, there's been this apprehension or fear that we might lose that sort of identity as an arts district. And so the majority of the feedback that we're getting is positive. People love the idea of, folks being connected to a community and all the opportunities that presents for public art and collaboration with a neighborhood. I honestly believe in the power of artists to innovate and to stabilize and to be connected and committed to a neighborhood. So everybody down there has been super supportive.
How great. And to see people in this town, everybody being on the same page, that's a nice change sometimes.
It's a rare thing, a nice change of pace, of course, yeah.
Well, Kaveh Razani, thank you so much for joining us
My pleasure.
today.
Thanks for having us.
This episode was produced by Evie Hemphill, with audio engineering by Aaron Dorr and production assistance from Jane Mather-Glass. It was mixed and edited by Jane. Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer. St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here. If you learned something new from today's episode, consider leaving us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the easiest way to help people discover our show. We appreciate it. Thank you. St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri, St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.